I am Sudeep Goswami. I'm the CEO of Traefik Labs. And today we're going to cover three different broad topics. The first one, I'm going to just do a quick introduction on Traefik Labs, just to level set what we do. But really the three main topics of the day. The first one, we'll talk about this concept of unified application intelligence. Second, I think no talk's going to be complete without AI. So we'll talk about what we're doing to accelerate AI in the enterprise. And then the last, this is a theme that I think we're hearing at this KubeCon even more so than what I have seen in the past, this notion of being able to run anywhere and having this freedom of choice. So not just public cloud, but on the edge, in your personal environment, air-gapped environment, and so forth. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. Some of you already know Traefik. For those of you watching this online, Traefik is one of the most downloaded API gateways on the planet. If you look on Docker Hub, we have the most downloads in this particular space. Right now it's counting 3.4 billion and going. We have incredible community of contributors to our open source project, which is called Traefik or Traefik Proxy, for some of you guys that already are familiar. We have over 800 plus contributors, and this number continues to grow. And just this week, we have announced our latest Traefik version v3.6. And you will, if you go look at that release note, you will see there's, amidst the contributions that we make as an employee of Traefik Labs to that particular project, there's a plethora of features that the community has delivered this time as well, and that continues to grow. So I'm very happy to hear that. A lot of stars on GitHub. I mean, in an essence, what all of this is really saying is that, and the users continue to tell us this, that we are one of the most intuitive platforms, intuitive ingress and API gateway out there. We're very easy to use, very powerful. Everything is fully declarative. You can deploy us as infra as code. The key personas that we cater to, I think the first two columns really represent the user base, the people that would be using Traefik. They are your DevOps engineers or your platform teams, your SREs. They are the prime users and advocates of Traefik. And then we also have the C-suite, who they report to. And they see value in Traefik as well from being able to achieve security in an agnostic way, not be vendor locked in. They can drive innovation. They have the level of compliance. And increasingly, we're starting to see more and more the security team and the AI ops team also start to embrace Traefik. And what they care about is, having security with the level of agility and the user experience, with these multiple types of AI workloads that are now entering the enterprise. This is, in a nutshell, what our entire portfolio represents. You look at the base, you have Traefik Hub as the foundation. And we have three core product offerings. We have our open source. Then we have our API gateway and API management. And then the extensions to those are a few different things. On the open source, we're one of the only ones in the space that provide enterprise support on our open source. Many of the other players in this space almost kind of push users to go to the paid offerings, where we have a large user base that is very happy using our open source in production, but they just want that peace of mind with enterprise support. And we offer that. That's our first offering. And then as users move over to the API gateway and to the API management layer, you have different types of use cases that are possible. You can deploy us as a WAF. You can deploy us as an AI gateway. You can also, we've just launched MCP gateway not too long ago. You can deploy us as an MCP gateway. And then if you're really serious about API governance, you can also deploy us as a full lifecycle API runtime management. The beauty of this is the API gateway and the API management are all contained in one single binary. So through licensing, you get to use the different feature set. So essentially our entire portfolio is composed of two binaries. You have one binary that's the open source. You don't want to mess with that. You keep that as is. And then you have the second binary, which is the paid functionality, which is your second and third kind of, the pillars here. And if you, this is one slide that's on our website as well. If you go to traefik.io/pricing, you will see some of the key features in each of them. So that's what I was saying. The second and the third column here, they are essentially one single binary. And through licensing, you get to use what you pay for. Just going back here 1 second, like if you look at the differentiators, this is really what differentiates us from our peers in the industry. And this kind of permeates through the entire portfolio. We have a great documentation system that makes it easier for our users to learn. We are not just cloud native, but we're also cube native. That allows a much easier experience integrating us into the environment. We have an intuitive UI as well, makes people easier to start with, but the real magic for us happens when users are scaling with us. And this is where us being fully declarative allows them to embrace the GitOps model, the CI/CD pipelines. And we're heavily focused on day two ops because there are many types of infrastructure that you can stand up quickly, but you start to really see the cracks when you're really pushing the boundaries and you're scaling them. And this is where we are focused on day two ops. I think being fully declarative is almost a prerequisite. And then you build on top of that to make it a fully deployed as code experience, because then you can do change management. And that's what day two ops is really about, is how do you embrace change? How do you handle change as it happens? Whether change that you want to introduce into the environment or change that just happens and you're reacting to it. And then the last but least is the pricing model. We're also differentiated from a pricing model standpoint. Many of the peers in the industry, the pricing model, it's based on call volume, so a number of API calls that you push through the system. We have taken a very different approach where we make it more of a cluster-based or an instance-based. So we don't care how many calls you're pushing through it. As long as you're licensed for it, you put it on the right metal, the right kind of, the CPU memory characteristics, and you can scale as much as you want. We don't get in your way, and it's much more predictable that way. So that's why some customers call this like the CFO-friendly pricing model, because it's easier to predict, easier to model in their budgeting, and also is very user-friendly. So you don't have any kind of those sudden spikes that you might see, maybe at the end of this month, Black Friday, you get all this spike, and then now you have to pay more. They don't want to be in that predicament.
Quick question, it's Calvin Hendricks Parker, 6 Feet Up. On the pricing model, how does that handle auto scaling? So as you add more nodes into the cluster?
Yeah, so if you're using Kubernetes, that already has that auto scaling functionality built in. So when we license it, we give you room in terms of the number of replicas that you can use, and that allows you to control the number of the auto scaling characteristics, scaling up or scaling down.
So it doesn't matter how many nodes get added into that cluster, that's going to be based on pod replication?
It's the pod replica concept.
Okay.
So most of our users, they have different kind of configurations. So let's say they have a really ultra HA configuration where they need 3 availability zones, and they may need 2 instances in each availability zone. Well, that's 6 replicas. So we would license it based on a 6 replica set. And there's, it's not a hard and fast rule.
Okay,
there's
so
buffer in there.
If you get a burst and you're using Carpenter to auto scale across nodes, we could burst up to double, triple, and then come back.
We give you a safe zone that you can burst up and come down. Yeah, we don't penalize you for it.
Yeah, I hate to be like, my licenses ran out.
Yeah, no. and then everything got shut down.
Right.
We don't want that. Yeah, we're trying to align more closely with how the users would deploy this infrastructure and what flexibility they would have at their fingertips to be able to scale up and down.
So is your GitOps support for deployment, is that part of what that scaling looks like? If I want to dynamically scale up another instance of a cluster or clusters, I can do it that way also?
Yeah, once you're licensed, so you would have, let's say you have X number of licenses that you're using, and that essentially means how many instances you can deploy. Once you have that, then you can use Git to deploy as many as you want.